This is an absolute atrocity. Look, there's some Crown Royal right on top of there. Yeah, great job, guys. Great job. Look at this construction site. I mean, holy smoke. The Texas housing market is starting to implode on top of itself, specifically you guys with new home construction. We're gonna take you around to several different new home communities, two of which are gonna be Lennar. You guys are gonna see massive price cuts that are going on right now. But I do wanna remind you, when it comes to real estate, it's about hyper-local analysis. So not all price cuts are really price cuts. So just always remember, you guys, you gotta do hyper-local subdivision analysis to see what homes are selling for to really get a good idea of how much under market a new home is. Now, this is a really special video because I also have two special guests with us today, starting with Melody Wright.
Thank you, Travis. We're excited to be here in Dallas today, where we're going to do some boots on the ground and show you what's going on with new home construction, which, you know, if we believe the recent results, they had a blowout month in August, over 17.86% increase both year over year and month over month, which was insane. And the biggest share of that increase was here in the South, even though people from Lennar to KB Homes had been talking about the weakness specifically in the South. So we'll see if we get some revisions to those numbers. I'm expecting that we will. We also heard that the National Association of Home Builders and the Consumer Sentiment Index said that they are doing price cuts, the most price cuts they've done since COVID. So it's going to be very interesting to see next month's results as well as the revisions. But we're in Dallas today, where there are 14,653 new homes for sale. And that's the ones they're telling you about. As you guys know, and as you've watched me and Travis go across the country, oftentimes what they say on these listing sites, even New Home Source, is not accurate by any stretch of the imagination. But guys, 14,653 homes, that's insane. We're gonna show you a little bit of that insanity today. All right, that's it for me. Over to you, Mitch.
Thank you, Melody. It's interesting, she brought up a point that there's so much activity and so many builders building. Well, across the Metroplex, there's over 1,000 new subdivisions. But I don't want anybody getting confused with the sheer number and saying, well, everything is great. Because in the multifamily world, you have what are called concessions, which is they lower the rent in order, in theory, because it's not true, but in theory, to boost the occupancy. Well, in the single family world, they're now lowering the prices below cost. It's not what they're building. The question is, where's the profit? And that is what will come out, again, as a lagging indicator. But we're going to get that information shortly. And this is very important to understand. Don't be taken in by what you see. Understand the math under the hood.
Can you guys believe that I got Mitch Vexler and Melody Wright together? As far as the rental market right now is absolutely insane here in Dallas. They have a whopping, according to Zillow, guys, 17,037 different rentals listed, and Zillow doesn't even have everything, guys. That is so much listings. There are more homes that are listed for rent than existing homes for sale in the Dallas area. Now, as far as the average price per rent, again, according to Zillow, the average rent is $1,995. The very interesting thing about this metro area is this is one of the few metro areas that is actually showing nominal year-over-year rent decline. And the fact that there are massive amounts of new apartment buildings, entire buildings still being constructed in Dallas, means that there's going to be a lot more downward pressure on the prices of rentals going down because of the sheer amount of listings. Think about it, guys. 17,000 different units are competing against one another.
We're here at Southern Methodist University in Dallas, one of my favorite neighborhoods of existing homes. Not a lot of new construction here. But what's happening is that new construction is sucking the life out of existing home sales, which nationally they were down 0.8% year over year. And you've got to remember that last year was the worst sales since 1995. And we have increased population by 21% since 1999. So what's going on? Again, those new homes here in Dallas, you've got active inventory that is just skyrocketing. It's up over 20% year over year. And when you just look at it on the Fred site, it's just gone up and to the right, guys. And there is no end in sight to this. As we've talked about, all this new construction everywhere. Prices per Zillow in Dallas are down 4.8%. So they're already starting to feel the weight of that inventory here. Existing home sellers really don't have a chance with this much new construction, especially in a market like Dallas. On the way here, we saw 3 homes for sale, all within the space of 3 blocks. This is a very exclusive neighborhood. People want to get in here, but what we also found when looking in this neighborhood were tax liens, which means that it may look beautiful on the surface, there's a lot of trouble brewing underneath as well. And what happens with those tax liens? Foreclosures. What happens when foreclosures happen? Your home value goes down. So as beautiful as it is here, guys, neighborhoods like this will be impacted as well.
We're now standing in front of the Federal Reserve in Dallas. Isn't it interesting that here in Dallas, the condominium and household population, houses, is roughly 321,000. There's also 145,000 of that are free and clear. But here is the gotcha. 6.8% of the 321,000 have tax delinquencies. It's roughly 21,000 households. These are bad numbers. Over and above that, the Federal Reserve, in my humble opinion, for what it's worth, is the largest purveyor of fraud on the planet. And the reason for that is, at the behest of the Federal Reserve, not necessarily Dallas, but all the Federal Reserves in total, they are there to protect the banks. And that means that they go to the U.S. Treasury to print money when the banks are in trouble. And that's why more than likely they won't be able to do that this time as they did in 2007, because there's a probability that it would turn the U.S. government into the Weimar Republic. You cannot keep printing money to stop the inevitable. Many of these banks deserve to be put out of business for the bets that were unilateral bets that they made.
I thought I'd go downtown in Dallas to talk to you guys about the employment situation out here. Now, starting with the most recent WARN notices, I'll throw that up on the screen, and you guys can see that there have been a few big companies doing layoffs in Dallas. The very first one there you guys see is UPS. But if you look at the bottom of the list, there's also an airport that laid off 600 people and another company that laid off 600 people. Now, as far as the unemployment rate, let me throw that up as well. So you can see that the Dallas unemployment rate is only 4%. It's actually under the national average. But what's interesting is it's actually over. If you look to the left of this chart, you'll notice that normally unemployment in Dallas is well under 4%. And it's possible as well that it is trending upward. So overall though, the really amazing thing about Dallas is not only the migration, there's a whole bunch of migration, but there's also a lot of little jobs out here. Statistically, even though the data is cooked, statistically, their unemployment is fairly low. Now, this is downtown on Sunday. You guys can see this is a park right here. Let me show you guys. So, not that many people, right? I would say the one thing that Dallas has going for it is probably its labor market. And a lot of that labor, you guys, is construction. So as the new construction starts to taper down, these new builders are starting to figure out that they cannot sell their inventory because, quite frankly, you guys, their prices are too high and people don't make enough money. So as more and more builders start to figure that out and hyper supply sits on the market, obviously that's going to create more unemployment, especially in the construction market. And obviously there's downflow for all unemployment. Either way, if you're going to move to Dallas, make triple, quadruple sure that if you do come here, that the job that you do have is solid, because you're going to need it to pay for your mortgage.
We just got to this Lennar community that's in Mesquite, Texas, where my pal John Comiskey has done research and has found that there are over 594 underwater FHA mortgages. And who were the originators on those mortgages? That would be Lennar and D.R. Horton. Right now in this community, the promotion is a 3.75% FHA teaser rate, as well as a $50,000 price reduction, a $5,000 gift card to Pottery Barn, and a new refrigerator. Now imagine if that sounds good for the guys behind me that might be buying this house, but what if you've already bought in this subdivision? How would you feel about the fact that the person next to you got all of those incentives when you did not? And that's what we see here, is we see massive, massive construction, many unsold completed homes, as well as those sold. Unfortunately, if you were that person, the first to buy in this development, you are soon going to be looking at reduced comps, seriously reduced comps. As well as with those underwater FHA mortgages, guess what's coming next? foreclosures. New homes completed over here, and then on the other side of it, you have all of the unfinished ones and lots that go back even further. And again, those 594 underwater mortgages, a lot of them are going to end up in foreclosure.
Right now we're standing at a new build community for Lennar. It's actually two Lennar communities that are attached to each other, competing with one another, so it doesn't really make sense. And the area that we're in, guys, is especially insane Mesquite area because there are so many different builders that are competing with one another. Now, the subdivision that I'm in right now has the largest price cut in the area of a price cut of over $60,000 for this house. But don't forget, you guys, you still have to do the under the hood math to make sure that that price cut is even real. Now, you guys constantly hear Melody, Wright, and I talking about how the data is cooked and that when we get to these new build communities, there's a lot more inventory than what they're reporting. So right now in this new build community, they're saying there's roughly 6 available homes. And what I'm gonna show you guys is there's probably about 80 to 90 homes available. So I want to show you, I'm standing at a corner. All the way down there, you guys, there's at least 10 homes available there. It looks like all of these homes, literally all of those homes are available. Looks like most of these homes are also available. This street goes up and down there, all of that's available. And look down here as well. So there is a lot more available than what is reported. Now I'm gonna walk down here and I want you guys to keep your eye on the construction site for Lennar and tell me what you think as I'm reading the stats. Now, we're actually visiting 2 Lennar communities. Mackenzie Trails, you guys, that's the one with $63,000 price cut. And it's saying that for these 2 Lennar communities, there's a total of 21 homes available. But again, I'm just standing in one community right now. And you guys can see there is, I mean, my gosh, just in this one community, there's well over 20 available. And not to mention, look at all of those lots right there. So if it's me, and say for example, like what Melody was saying, if I buy this house for $250,000 and then a year goes by, they build this house and they sell this house for $200,000, that means that this house just lost $50,000. And that's really the problem here. If you buy new right now, you're at a big time risk of your home price going down a lot faster than existing, because remember, these builders are forced seller. These are distressed sellers, and they have to continue to move their product just to stay into business. And that's why you see new homes slashing prices at a much faster rate than existing. But again, you guys, you always have to do the math. You have to look at the data and you have to make sure under the hood that these prices are good. And I'm gonna say, guys, this is even more important with new homes versus existing homes, because again, there's just too much inventory. I mean, all of these spec homes that you guys saw, let me kind of pan again. Why are they building those spec homes? And again, this is just Lennar. We're gonna take you to some other new build communities to show you that these new home builders really are competing with each other. And if you guys have waited this long to buy a house, guess what? You did the right thing, because the prices are being slashed. And not only the prices being slashed, look at how many options we have, not to mention all of the insane incentives. And they still, you guys, they still have so much to do in this subdivision. So there's no way, personally, that I would recommend anyone buying here, because quite frankly, it'll probably take years to sell this whole thing out. And in that meantime, all of the existing owners are at risk of a housing market crash and then being rolled up in a home that has lost all of its equity. We already have the stats on Lennar. Remember, you guys, Lennar prices for their homes went under 2019 values. Lennar, the average Lennar selling price is 22% under the peak of 2022. And on top of that, on top of them selling houses for under 2019, they're also giving about 14% towards buying incentives. Lennar, in my opinion, you guys, is the biggest at risk of going bankrupt, and this is why. Here's all the lots for this community, but if you follow this road right here and wrap around, there's an entirely another community on the other side of that that is just as unbuilt as this one.
We're just a couple of miles down the road from where we just took you at Ridge Ranch. There are 89 available homes for sale here, with price cuts up to $47,340. What we mentioned, with 14,000 homes already for sale, and as we know, there's probably more. Regular inventory is already up 20% year over year. We know that's tracked by Realtor.com, who does not have all of these new home listings. So you can see that construction has just gone wild here in Dallas, and we're going to be dealing with this for some time. And we're here on the weekend, guys. There are over 89 homes available, but there's no one here checking this location out. So exactly who is coming to buy these homes?
We took you to one more new build community called Caldwell Lakes. Now they're saying there's 16 new homes here, $18,000 price cuts, and I'm gonna tell you guys there's a lot more than 16 new homes. Now the really crazy thing about this is this was not supposed to be another Lennar community. So at the end of this community, we found that there's a whole bunch of Lennar homes. In fact, everything behind me, let me show you guys. We took you guys here because we wanted to show you the competition, essentially builders, competing with each other. Come to find out that Lennar, I don't know if they purchased this builder's property and just started building them, but this is all Lennar. That's crazy. Let's walk this construction site. I'm always looking at what's on the ground because if they saw this, all this is going to come up. I'm also looking for alcohol. There's a beer bottle. You guys can kind of see the beer bottle right there. This is an absolute atrocity. Look, there's some Crown Royal right on top of there. Yeah, great job, guys. Great job. Look at this construction site. I mean, holy smokes. Look at this. And I don't understand, why does the construction manager not come and clean up the alcohol? I mean, gosh, look at all this alcohol. I think it's a tradition. If you're gonna build a house, bring your Modesto. Look at another beer can. There's a Heineken over there. There's a box. There's an old box right there, a Heineken. I mean, geez. You know what we should do, guys? I'm gonna tell you right now. Great business idea, do a mobile beer truck and go and take it to these new build communities. You guys will get so many customers. I'm gonna walk up here because I wanted you guys to look at the other builder. I didn't want to just talk about Lennar this whole time, but apparently Lennar's buying up all this stuff. Remember, that other builder that's in here has to also compete with Lennar, and we know that Lennar is offering insane buying incentives, super low interest rates, well below market. You got to get home inspections, especially if it's a new home, during multiple stages of construction. Remember, usually the same construction crews work on the same houses. There's houses everywhere. I don't know how they're gonna sell this. No one can afford this. Look at, guys. Hovanian Homes, and look at, they're offering a 2.99% for the first year. And then this builder has all of this stuff to sell still. Pretty much down that street there as well. Wraps around over here. So, I mean, these guys literally are fighting tooth and nail. You got 10 houses to one buyer. I mean, this is absolutely insane. You guys are gonna start seeing more and more accelerated price declines, especially in Dallas, especially with new construction. But I wanted to walk and see if there's any beer cans and alcohol at this builder's sites. Let's see if they're a little bit better with their alcohol versus Lennar. So first one, let's see, I don't see nothing, no alcohol so far. Very good. Look at that, we got some sober construction workers on that one. Let's keep going here. Look at that, that's a pretty decent, pretty clean lot as well. Look at that. Why can't Lennar, just clean up the beer bottle? Still, if you want, you can still drink. If you got to drink, whatever. But clean up after yourself. Golly, look at this. I don't see any beer cans, nothing. Let's go walk down here real quick. So you can see different, what is this? No way. No, we got a beer can. Almost. We almost had no beer. Let's keep going over here. Let's see if there's any more. Still better than that Lennar house. I mean, there is hard alcohol. Taking shots of hard alcohol, you guys, as they're building these houses. And you don't think you need a home inspection? Definitely do. Let's see here. Good. Nothing. Trash. See what we got here. See here we got energy drinks. So this builder believes in energy drinks. Looks like Lennar is the beers. Let's see. What do we got here? Say it ain't so. Oh no, look at what we got. I mean, what's the deal? I mean, am I the only one that doesn't drink at work? Golly.
just want to say thank you guys for joining us today on this boots on the ground tour of Dallas. It's been over a year since Travis and I were here, and honestly, we believed that things would probably start slowing down, but that's not what happened at all. People continued to build and build and build. And so what you're seeing here, guys, is just complete saturation of a market. There is no way they're going to be able to sell all these homes. The immigration to this area has slowed. There is an immigration crackdown. So who's coming to buy these homes out here in the middle of nowhere? We're in another Lennar community. We just came from one. And you can see the massive construction, but it's also a disaster. If you look behind us just at how dirty these sites are, I'm not sure about you, but I don't think I would want these folks building my home, especially if they're drinking on the job, which that clearly looks to be the case here. So what is our main message to you guys is that these things take a lot of time to play out. And we never wanted you to be caught in the middle of this mess. We wanted you guys to stay on the sideline, because what's happening right now to the people that actually live in this community, you can see people that are living, walking their dogs, etc. They're right here next to these unfinished homes, which all of this vacancy is going to attract an element, a criminal element, as well as, do you really want to be next door to people drinking on the job? So what our main message is that, yet again, people went absolutely wild. They went wild building new construction for single family. They went wild building multifamily. They even went wild building office buildings still. Here in Dallas, there are still office buildings going up with all of this vacancy. And so the most important thing that we want you to understand is the bill is about to be paid. We hope that by what we've shown you today, that you can actually see the reality on the ground. And guys, if this was just one area of Dallas, if this was just one area of San Antonio, if this was just one area of Florida, it is all over the place. They look just like this. And so it's very difficult to understand the scale, but we hope that you have been able to learn through our travels of what's actually going on out there, because it is so important to you and your families that you don't get caught in this web. So thanks again, everyone. And we hope you know that if you're out there investing in real estate, we wish you luck and we hope you win.